This week's reading, V'Zot HaBracha, which we read on Simchat Torah, we complete the Torah, and it concludes with a description of the death of Moshe, the last chapter of the Torah. Moshe is instructed in chapter 34. The Torah says, Vayal Moshe me'avot Moav al har nevo, Rosh HaPiskah, asher al pnei Yerecho, vayareu Hashem et kol haaretz et hagilad ad-dan. V'yet kol Naftali, v'yet eretz Ephraim u'Manasseh, v'yet kol eretz Yehuda ad yam ha'chalon, et ha'negev, et ha'kikar, v'gat Yerecho, yat Tamarim, and so on. So Moshe is ascending the mountain, Har Nevo, and he is looking at the land. The Torah actually tells us the various places that Moshe sees from a distance. And God speaks to Moshe in the 4th verse. Vayomer Hashem elav zot haaretz asher nishbati liAvraham v'Yitzchak v'Yaakov v'Mol za'achad nena. Heriticha b'yeinecha v'shamor ta'avar. This is the land that I promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I promised to give it to their descendants. You have seen it with your eyes, but you will not cross there. And this description of Moshe seeing the land, Moshe dies after this. We have this story repeated more than one time in the Torah, and each time it's a little bit different. The last time is the end of the Torah, and here I think the Torah is presenting us from a different point of view than we have seen and heard the story earlier. In all the cases, of course, Moshe can't cross over. He's very disappointed. In Sefer Dvarim, he had pleaded with God to cross to the other side, and the response of Rav Lach, enough, speak no more to me about this matter, seems to us, I think, quite harsh. Moshe has been the beloved servant of God. In chapter 34, at the end of the Torah, in V'Zot HaBracha, in the Parasha, which is all about blessings, it's much softer. True, Moshe cannot cross to the other side. Not so much because of sin. No mention is made of any kind of sin in the last portion of the Torah. What the Torah does say is that Moshe is 120 years old. And towards the beginning of the Torah, God had said that the years of the human being are 120. So Moshe is living the full life that a mortal can live. But as a mortal, he has his limitations. On the other hand, despite the fact that he can't cross to the other side, the Torah dwells on the fact that he actually sees the other side. He sees the various places. One might say he sees the culmination of his dreams. He doesn't realize it himself, but he can see it. Heriticha b'yeinecha. So from that perspective, actually, there's an element of joy in the story as well, to be able actually to see your dreams. And not only that, the Torah tells us that all of Moses' teachings, his leadership, he's able to transmit to his disciple. In verse number 9, V'Yoshua ben Nun malei ruach chachma, ki samach Moshe et yadav alav. The Torah ends by telling us that Yoshua, described earlier in the Torah as Moses' devoted disciple, Misharet Moshe Mibchurav, the Torah calls him a disciple of Moses from his youth, Moses' follower. He accompanies Moses when Moses ascends the mountain. The Torah describes Joshua as being filled with the Spirit of God. It's interesting that when God first tells Moshe that Yoshua will succeed him, Moshe turns to God and says, you have to pick somebody, choose somebody. You know the spirit of all human beings. Choose someone to lead. You just told me I'm going to pass on. I won't cross into the land in the book of Bamidbar. And now you have to pick someone to replace me. And God said to Moshe, take Joshua, Ish Asher Ruach Bo, a man who has spirit, and place your hands upon him. In other words, Moshe, your job is actually to train a successor. Your job is to train the leader of the next generation. And the Torah attests at the end of the Torah that Joshua is Malei Ruach Chachma, he's filled with wisdom. God's description of Joshua in the book of Bamidbar was Ish Asher Ruach Bo. He has spirit in him. Place your hands upon him, and when you place your hands upon him, you train him, you'll fill him with spirit. That's exactly what the Torah says. Joshua was Molei Ruach Chachma, filled with the spirit, for Moses had placed his hands upon him. Vayishmu elav b'nei Yisrael vayasu kasher tzivah Hashem et Moshe, and the children of Israel obeyed and did that which God had commanded Moshe. So Moses' teachings live on. Through the one that he trains, through the one that he teaches, his disciple, Moshe is able to have the continuity. It doesn't say that all of Israel listened and did that which God commanded Joshua. It says that which God commanded Moses. So the Torah ends, I would say, on a bittersweet note, but with a lot of sweetness. Because in the Book of Blessings, given the human limitations, Moshe is described as one who's both able to see his dreams, but also has been able to make his dreams happen. Chag Sameach.